Nationals Victorian leader Danny O'Brien joins us now from Leongatha. Danny, great to have you with us. And small business owner Mark Sutherland, who operates his own ice cream business in the southeast of Melbourne. Gentlemen, welcome. Can I first go to you, Mark? You open up the rates notice. There it is, the new Emergency Services and Volunteers Levy, awful name. How much difference between that and your old fire services levy?
Okay, well, Steve, the first thing that the old eyes were widened was when I looked at my rates, and the rates were $17.20 and the levy was $17.38. So I'm paying more in levy than the rates. And the increase last year was $6.29 and this year it's $17.38. So we're not quite 3 times the value, Steve. So I'll tell you what, they wonder who's going to pay the bills. Well, not us, I guess. It's my poor customers who are now going to have to pay more for ice cream.
And your poor old councils are the ones that have been told they've got to collect this. I mean, we can't blame them. I mean, we need to let every Victorian know that this money goes straight to the Jacinta Allen government. Whether it ever has anything to do with volunteers, I'll ask Danny about in a moment. But, I mean, how do you absorb that into your cost? You've got to put up the cost of your products, I guess.
Absolutely, Steve. The old person that's voting for the wrong government who thinks it's us who are going to foot the bill aren't. We're just going to pass it on, and I guess when we open in 3 weeks, ice cream prices are going to be going up to cover this money.
I can understand why you're not open this weekend. It's going to be 12 and raining. I don't think even the most ice cream loving person would want to have an ice cream. But anyway, Danny, really good to have you with us. We've got some other examples already. We expect farm businesses are those that are going to be hardest hit. Now, the Premier, I think, says farmers will not pay this levy this year. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. After a fairly strong campaign from the Nationals and Liberals, but also our farm sector, our CFA volunteers, the government has backed down. But it's a one-year reprieve, Steve, from a 150% increase in the rate the government was going to charge farmers. 1 year only, sensibly from the drought, and we certainly welcomed that. But this should be scrapped altogether. It's not a one-year reprieve that we're after. We're after a reprieve completely because it's businesses like Mark, it's our farmers, our residences right across the state. And this is one of the things, to be frank, it's been a bit frustrating that people think this is only a farmer's tax. It's actually every single homeowner in Victoria, every commercial business, every industrial business facing this massive increase, and most of them finding out about it now as their rates notices appear in their mailboxes.
Can you believe that example we just had? That increase is just horrendous.
It's literally a 100% increase. The rate of increase is 100% for every residence, every commercial business. It's a 64% increase for every industrial business. And as I said, next year, 150% for every primary production. That's a massive hit at a time at a cost of living crisis. I'm sure Mark doesn't have the spare cash to be able to absorb that. I'm sure his customers are going to be struggling as well because ice cream's a bit of a luxury. So this is a real hit to the Victorian economy, and it's all because Labor can't manage money. This has got nothing to do with supporting our emergency services because, in fact, Steve, the Government Gazette the government has published has shown that Fire Rescue Victoria, CFA and SES budgets are actually going down this year.
Mark, could this potentially cost a youngster a job serving ice cream in the shop over summer because you won't be able to afford to pay them?
Well, I don't know if it's that harsh, Steve, but I think the thing is you have a threshold on your prices of ice creams and, you know, you get to a point where people suddenly say, well, hang on, do I really need a little luxury item like that? So I'm sort of, yeah, certainly I think there's going to be a little bit of pushback, but the saddest thing is I can't stress enough from my behalf that people just don't understand that it's a tax on them. It's not a tax on these business owners. The government is really making everybody pay for their problems.
So explain to me how they calculate that, Mark. Do you own that shop where your ice cream business is based, do you?
I happen to own the building, yes I do, Steve. So I've got the rates here, and as I said, my rates this year, $17.20, fire levy $17.38. Last year, fire levy was $6.29, so $6.29, it's nearly 3 times. It's now $17.38. So, yeah, I do own the building, Steve. So, obviously, if I didn't own the building again, I'd be handing it on to the tenant anyway because it's an outgoing. So, again, the poor tenant, if I had one, or he'd be paying and still passing it on. So either way, the poor old customer pays for the government's not being able to handle the economy.
Danny, so I own a farm. As I understand it, yeah, I won't pay the levy this year, but going forward, I don't pay the levy on the home block, but I pay it on everything else. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's right. There's some exemptions for the primary residence of a farmer, but even that is capped up to a value of $5 million. So you can claim an exemption on one property, if you like, up to a value of $5 million. Now, that might sound like a lot, Steve, but as you know, our farms have got bigger, farmland has got more valuable, and there's not too many farms that are serious that are going to be getting that exemption across the board. There's a lot of value in our farms, and it's just a tax that shouldn't be added. It's effectively a de facto land tax on our farmers. That's why the Nationals and Liberals have committed to repealing this tax. It is a tax on production. It's a tax on homes. It's a tax on business, and it's not about supporting our emergency services. It's actually about filling budget black holes. Okay.
I mean, one of the things, Danny, that really pees me off about this is that many of these farmers are the actual very volunteers that the people in the tax hikes in the title. That's why I hate the title. These are the people, when a fire starts, who are down at the CFA shed within 20 minutes, jumping on a truck, putting their lives at risk to put the fire out.
Absolutely spot on, and that's why we had a lot of anger, I think, particularly from the western districts of the state this year, where hundreds, if not thousands, of CFA volunteers were fighting fires in the Grampians through summer. At the same time, they were hearing news that they'd be facing this tax on their farms. Now, there are exemptions for volunteers, but even then, many of those volunteers won't be able to get them if they're not the actual owner of the property, or if their wife's name or their husband's name is on the property, then the volunteer won't necessarily be able to get them. So there's some failings in that too. But it's literally, yes, as you said before too, you don't like the name for a very good reason, because the government's trying to use the good name of volunteers to slug all Victorians with this tax. And yet it's the volunteers that are being the worst bit, and they are the ones that are on the back of the truck fighting fires around our state.
It's a really grubby tax. Just before you go, I mean, the other thing about it, Danny, is we all know, and you'd appreciate this too, Mark, once they introduce a tax or a levy like this, there's nothing stopping them putting it up every year from here until kingdom come.
Well, absolutely, Stephen.
Danny, something that could be... Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
Sorry, something can be pursued, Danny, is just this small amount that I'm paying. I'd love to know the figure, and I have heard it bandied about, $3 or $4 billion in tax. You can't tell me they're going to spend that on essential services. I'm sure a lot of that's going to be softened from paying debts. I wonder how much of that's going to be put towards digging these holes everywhere. It's a lot of money, $3 or $4 billion.
Danny, Mark, appreciate your time tonight, both of you. Thank you very much, and we'll keep on this case. I'm sure Peter will when she gets back. Thank you very much for joining us. That is just absolute outrage by that government.